Today is Mission Sunday. World Mission Sunday is an opportunity for us to reflect on our part in the missionary role of the church. The church has been involved in missionary work right from the very beginning. It is very clear from the gospel that we hear today. So, how today should the church carry out its work of mission? As member of the church, we all are evangelizers, and our primary duty is to spread the good news to the whole world through the witness of our life. This is why in the first reading of today, the prophet Isaiah speaks of the mountain of the Lord as the place that would attract people from all over the world. And all nations shall flow to it, he said, and many people shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, that he may teach us his ways, and that we may walk in his path. So, obviously, the whole essence of mission is the fulfillment of that prophecy of Isaiah, bringing the whole world to the mountain of the Lord. Missionary work for us Christians is a normal consequence of our love for God and for our neighbor. Once we have received the gift of faith and salvation, with the peace and hope it brings, we cannot keep it for ourselves. It is logical to share it with others. So, as a response of God's love for us, the message of His Holiness Pope Francis for World Mission Day 2020 is entitled, Here I Am, Send Me, based on the quotation of Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8. This is the ever-new response to the Lord's question, Whom shall I send? Brother and sister, it is obvious that this invitation from God's merciful heart challenges both the church and humanity as a whole in the current world crisis. Pope Francis continues saying, like the disciple in Matthew Gospel chapter 8, caught in the middle of the night in a strong sea storm, we too, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and for us in Hong Kong because of the social turmoil that rocked Hong Kong until now, we too are caught off guard by an unexpected and turbulent storm. Then we realize that all of us are in the same boat. All of us are fragile and disoriented. But at the same time, we realize that in order to get out of that challenging and dangerous situation, we are called to row together, each of us in need of comforting the others. At this point, brother and sister, we should also pay attention to the pastoral letter in communion with the Church issued by Cardinal John Tong on September 21. Cardinal Tong acknowledged very clearly that the social turmoil that rocked Hong Kong last year has brought home to us some of its deep-rooted problems which have long remained unresolved. The public, he continued to say, are fully justified in expecting the local government to take action promptly to address their aspiration for justice, democracy, and a more decent quality of life. At the same time, Cardinal Tong said that it is fitting to reiterate that the Church gave support to democracy as a system of governance, a point of view also expressed clearly by one of our previous Pope, Saint John Paul II, and by our now Pope, Pope Francis. Nevertheless, looking back at the social turmoil, Cardinal Tong said, we cannot but acknowledge that it has also brought along some serious and damaging consequences which badly affect our life until now. One of these is the hatred of some sector of the public toward those who do not share their stances or do not endorse their action in regard to social political reforms. Brother and sister, as Christian, we must realize that treating others as enemies to be hated and to be fought against is inconsistent with the Christian faith, our Cardinal said. Whatever might be the conflicts that have to be resolved, love, forgiveness, and reconciliation must always prevail if justice and peace are to be achieved. How can we share God's love for us with the whole world, as World Mission Sunday is inviting us to do, if our hearts are full of hatred? Impossible. In contributing to the building of a society of peace, justice, and fraternity, we Christians have to act as the salt of the earth, like the light of the world, and the yeast of human society. Brother and sister, there is another dangerous temptation that we Christians should try to avoid. The temptation of sharing with many local people the growing conviction and the negative attitudes that there is no hope, no prospect for Hong Kong society in the future. I know that we Hong Kong people are proud of what we have achieved in the past centuries in terms of various civil rights and in terms of a well-estimated judicial system. But even though we may now feel defeated in our rights and freedom by the imposition of the national security law, as Christians, we should never forget that the final victory is on our side. We should never forget that one day all the evil forces will be crushed by the good ones. Why? Because Jesus Christ, through his death and resurrection, has already conquered the evil. So, as Christians, how can we share with others trust and hope in the future if we are full of despair, disappointment, and resentment? Impossible. My last question for us today is the first one that I asked at the beginning of this sharing. How should we carry out today our work of mission? How can we convert the whole world to Christ, which is the aim of mission work? The answer is very simple. By first being converted ourselves. We cannot give, brother and sister, what we do not have. If we are Christian only by mouth, if we do not practice what we preach, if our hearts are far from God, we cannot bring others to God. And if we do not convert ourselves first, how can we answer the Lord, "Here I am, send me to accomplish your mission"? Impossible. Amen.